Game 3, Southern Polytechnic, the 10 seed at 27-5, the Runnin' Hornets. They're coming up next against Westmont of California. Final game of our brunch matchup this afternoon, or rather our third game this afternoon, features the Westmont Warriors out of Santa Barbara, California at 29, taking on Southern Polytechnic, the Runnin' Hornets, out of Marietta, Georgia at 27-5. Welcome back to Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City, Missouri. Dave Armstrong and Ben Boyle will have the call here in just a minute. Southern Polytechnic comes into this game as the 10 seed, also rated number 10 in America, 27-5. They are the Runnin' Hornets, and there is your information. Overall, 27-5, finished second in their conference in the Georgia, Alabama, Carolina Conference. They are averaging 88.5 points a game, allowing just over 70 points a game. So great defense and great scoring by Southern Polytechnic. Also 10 rebounds a game. Westmont College out of Santa Barbara, California. They come into the tournament unseeded, but ranked number 21 in America. The Warriors finished second in the Golden State Athletic Conference. They returned after an absence last season. Their head coach, John Moore, is in his 9th season, a 185-95 record. They are scoring, or rather allowing, just under 70 points a game. Average margin of victory, 12.5 points. So this should be a great game this afternoon for Game 3. Both teams trying to join Martin Methodist and Olivet Nazarene in the win column. We'll go ahead and take a look at the brackets and show you how the teams have matched up so far. As we told you, Martin Methodist already a winner today. The upset over Spring Hill. They will face the winner of the Oklahoma City Lewis-Clark matchup, which will come up this afternoon at 2:15. Olivet Nazarene moving on. You just saw them get the big win over Edward Waters, blowing them out by a score of 80-64, smoking the nets today. Great field goal percentage and great shooting from downtown Georgia Southwest, and McHenry also. And the lower part of the bracket looks like this: Mountain State, and then you also got Westmont, Southern Polytechnic. That tip-off coming up in just a couple of minutes. Then you've got Columbia out of Missouri coming up later this afternoon, and Westminster and Union out of Kentucky. So lots of great NAIA basketball action. Dave Armstrong and Ben Boyle will have the play-by-play call for our third game today. Southern Polytechnic out of Marietta, Georgia, against Westmont, California, out of Santa Barbara. So great NAIA basketball action from Kansas City.
Yeah. I'll take Southern Poly. I'll take Southern Poly.
2002 NAIA Division I Men's National Basketball Championship. The NAIA would like to welcome you to the quarterfinal of the 65th Annual Buffalo Funds NAIA Division I Tournament, hosted by the Olathe Chamber of Commerce. We ask that each of you, as participants, officials, and spectators, help create a positive environment by exemplifying the NAIA's 5 core character values: respect, integrity, responsibility, servant leadership, and sportsmanship. Please enjoy this afternoon's matchup between the Southern Polytechnic State University Runnin' Hornets and the Westmont College Warriors. Honorary coaches this afternoon for Southern Polytechnic State. Our honorary coach is Frontier Bag. And the honorary coach for Westmont College is the Bank of Blue Valley. Let's meet this afternoon's starting lineups. First, for the Runnin' Hornets, the guard from Springfield, Massachusetts, 6'3", senior number 20, Juan Neal. For the Warriors, the guard from Vista, California, 6'2", junior number 10, for the Hornets, at guard from Stone Mountain, Georgia, 6'4", senior, 24, Juwan Jackson. For the Warriors, at guard at Naperville, Illinois, 6'3", junior, number 14, Ryan Chillery.
Welcome back to Municipal Auditorium for the NAIA tournament, and now we have a matchup, Game 3. It's our lunch game. It's the Westmont Warriors and the Southern Poly Running Hornets. With Ben Boyle, I'm Dave Armstrong. And Ben, how do these two teams match up?
Dave, it's a real contrast in styles. Southern Poly is going to apply 40 minutes of full court pressure. They want an up-tempo. They score over 80 points a game. For Westmont, you're going to see a team that wants to slow it down. A very fundamentally sound, well-coached team that wants a half-court game. It's a contrast in styles. We'll see if Southern Poly, with a very athletic team, can get the up-tempo game going against Westmont.
Well, there's going to be a lot of pressure on that Westmont point guard to try to handle the ball today.
Well, he's a good one, though. Adrian Phillips is a 6-foot junior, and he's been a starter since his freshman season. So Westmont comes into this game thinking if Phillips can handle the pressure in the backcourt from Southern Poly, get the tempo slowed down, they'll have a great chance to win this game against Southern Poly, who comes in as the number 10 seed in the tournament.
All right, let's check out the starting lineups for the game, brought to you by Broom Oldsmobile, where trust begins. And for Westmont, it's Tillery and Phillips in the backcourt, Ortiz, Clark, and Pierce up front. For Southern Poly, it's Neal and Jackson in the backcourt, Coleman, Graham, and Brown, and Southern Poly will go 12 deep. They'll play a lot of guys today to try to keep the pressure on the Warriors of Westmont. Westmont coming to you out of the Golden State Athletic Conference from Santa Barbara, California, while Southern Poly out of Marietta, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. They're in the Georgia-Alabama-Carolina Conference. Both these teams lost in their tournament finals, in their conference tournament finals, and they got an at-large bid. So we'll see what happens here today as the Running Hornets are all set to go. You're looking right now at Duriel Coleman. He is one of those seniors out of Austin, Texas, a junior college transfer. As far as Westmont is concerned, the guy that's going to be a focus of attention today, Chris Clark, averaging 19 points a game.
Clark's a great post player, and he could be a problem down low for Southern Poly, but you mentioned Southern Poly will go 12 deep. We're going to see 40 minutes of full court pressure. Not really a true star on this team, but they will send wave after wave after you.
So it's Westmont in their white jerseys. They start on offense, working the ball around the perimeter. Pierce drives into the paint and gets the first two for the Warriors.
He's had a good year, named to the all-conference team, and a good matchup with Clark down low. Pierce and Clark give Westmont two pretty good low-post players.
Now the Running Hornets come on the attack for the first time. Driving into the paint, throwing up a wild one was DeJuan Neal. And now here comes Westmont on the run.
Here's Phillips, the point guard. He's the one who runs the show for Westmont, who's going to have to handle that pressure in the backcourt.
So Adrian Phillips, the player that Ben has been talking about, thinks he can handle the pressure, and a good inlet pass, and somebody from Southern Poly went to sleep. An easy basket there for Clark. So a quick 4-0 start for the Warriors. Three-pointer. That's no good from Neal. Stolen away, though, and there's some of that pressure. Neal again. Good dish inside, and scoring the first two for the Running Hornets is Kanan Brown, and another steal. Well, Ben, you pointed it out. We were looking at these two teams. This is a team that averages over 12 steals a game, and those two thefts result in 4 quick points.
Yeah, 363 steals in one season. It's a diamond full-court press, 1-2-1-1, and you saw the problems that they created in the backcourt already. And here's another turnover as they don't get it across midcourt in 10 seconds. Watch this play here. In the back of that zone defense, and Chris Clark able to sneak inside for the layup for Westmont.
Well, we were watching the play, but Antonio Graham was not. Shot was short, rebounded eventually to Westmont. Tillery will pull it back out. And now Phillips will set the offense.
You see Westmont there, maybe at a fast break opportunity, but they do not want a run-and-gun game. Unless it's a layup, they're probably going to back it out and try and set up this half-court offense, get it into a low, slow tempo ball game. Nice move by Mitch Pierce.
And they're really working the ball inside, Ben.
Well, they've got the defense spread out. There's some driving lanes there, and Pierce is able to put the ball on the floor and get it all the way to the rack.
Spin move in the paint, a nice bounce pass, but a good block. A nice block by Clark.
And if Southern Poly can't score, they can't set up the press.
Tillery, no. So here comes Southern Poly now on the run. Shot just a little bit short, taken by Jackson. Lob pass, and Westmont fortunate to get that one through.
Jackson, the leading scorer, number 24 for Southern Poly at 14 points a game, has taken some early shots here. Southern Poly really has not got into their half-court offense much, but they want to score in transition and some early offensive looks.
Showing some range, Chris Clark, guy who's hit 36% of his trays this year. And Westmont to a 5-point lead.
Yeah, nice ball movement there, Dave, by Westmont. Getting their best shooter open, Chris Clark, had a season-high 35 against Alberta earlier on during the regular season, and they're off to a great start here against this athletic and talented Southern Poly team.
Shot clock is down to 10.
Good help defense.
What a nice shot. Good kiss off the glass by DeJuan Neal.
Neal's the point guard on this team, a guy who can put the ball on the floor, get it to the hole as he did there against some pretty good Westmont defense. Four subs waiting at the scorer's table for Southern Poly to check in, as they will go 11-12 deep in this tournament.
Clark hits his second three of the game. Westmont, they come out firing in all cylinders, and their lead up to a half dozen.
Well, Mike Helfer was concerned about Clark hurting him down on the low post, but we've seen him step out and knock in 2 threes.
That one danced around the rim and went down for Jackson. A much-needed 3 for the Running Hornets.
And here's Phillips handling that backcourt pressure, Dave, and picking up a foul. Talked about Chris Clark, great low post scorer, but here he's going to step out on the perimeter, and he's got all day to square up and knock this one in, his second 3 early on here in the first 5 minutes.
Went out of bounds, good pressure by the Running Hornets. They'll take the ball away. We played about 5 minutes, and so far we have seen that contrast in styles that Ben's been talking about. Now we'll see as Southern Poly brings in 4 new guys. A whistle and a foul on Phillips.
Southern Poly's going to bring some size into the lineup here. Leho Krayev, a 6'10 junior from Estonia, so maybe he can give them some low post scoring. Pretty much the first 5 minutes, they've just been trying to beat Westmont off the dribble and get it into the paint.
Jay Watson at the free throw line, a junior out of Durham, North Carolina. A guy who averages 66% from the line.
Southern Poly came in here hoping to make a pretty deep run in the tournament. The 10 seed, they've been in the Sweet 16 the last 2 years, Dave, and a very veteran team with a lot of seniors in this lineup.
Westmont so far, Ben, looks like they can handle that pressure.
Has not been a problem yet, just 1 turnover in the backcourt, and that was on a bad inbounds pass. And now they'll set it back up, try and spread the floor and get the ball to their shooters. There's a good look right there. Nice hustle there by Phillips.
Pierce will dish it out. Shot no good, taken by Tillery. And here come the Running Hornets.
Good transition defense by Westmont to stop the early opportunity for Southern Poly.
Tip Tipped out of bounds, and T.J. Watson tried once, twice, and the third time it went off his hand.
Well, I think John Moore's got to be pleased for Westmont with how this game has started. They're running their offense, for the most part, handling this pressure in the backcourt. And when you go up a team that averages 12 steals a game and is as athletic as Southern Poly is, you worry about just getting blown out of the building early on, but they're more than staying with them.
Good rebound by Pierce. Works it back out to Clark. Again to Clark. And right now it's Westmont out hustling the running Hornets.
Much quicker to the basketball on some of those long three-point misses. And Southern Poly came in here with a rebound margin of +10 on the season, but we have yet to see that materialize.
Good spin move by Clark.
Well, we're already seeing why he's one of the premier players in the Golden State Athletic Conference, with a great move inside to complement his ability to shoot the ball from the outside.
Clark already with 10 points.
Southern Poly will play man-to-man defense pretty much the whole way, dropping back out of that full-court pressure. But so far, Westmont doing a nice job in their half-court sets.
Pierce gets it back, and a nice move down the paint. Boy, Pierce and Clark, that's a tandem that's really tough right now on Southern Poly.
Pierce averaging almost 13 points a game, and you see their quickness to the basketball. Watch Pierce as he tries to force something inside, but he picks up the loose ball and doesn't give up on the play with a nice drive and the backhanded layup. He's going to get a little break here, but yeah, that when you can come into a tournament like this and have two quality players in Clark and Pierce, and you see how they kind of feed off one another, you've got a great opportunity to go pretty deep.
Ben, I'm a little bit surprised. Here Southern Poly came in with this reputation, the running Hornets, the team that will pressure and all that, but right now it looks like Westmont is a step quicker.
Well, they're so fundamentally sound, and they're all strong with the basketball as they finish off the play there.
Jeff Gerges with the basket, and Westmont off to their biggest lead. It's up to 8.
Now Southern Poly, Dave, at the offensive end really hasn't gotten that good of looks. They've been able to penetrate, but a lot of those shots have been contested once they do drive into the lane with some good help defense by Westmont. Here's the big guy. He needs to get down on the low block.
Shot thrown up there. Again, your point is well taken. Not a good look for Southern Poly.
Well, they're used to getting layups off of their pressure, but when they can't score in the half court, not able to set up that pressure, and Westmont has been very good handling the basketball so far. Look how they spread the floor.
And a travel on the part of Ortiz. So a turnover for the Warriors. I'll give the ball back to Southern Poly. That's an unforced turnover.
Westmont, a long history in this tournament, 13 trips to the NAIA National Tournament. Went to the Final Four 3 years ago down in Tulsa. Different team, though, this year. I think there's only one player on that team who made it to the Final Four, but play the same brand of basketball that we've seen here in the first 8-9 minutes. Very solid, fundamental team.
And a foul on the rebound. That foul goes against Josh Dene, a freshman out of Riverside. So Dene picks up his first. It's the second team foul on the Warriors. From the wing, well short. Good rebound, though, inside for Kanan Brown. So Brown with a stick back, and Southern Poly within 6 again.
Well, that may be where they have to get their points from, going to the offensive glass. Not a great outside shooting team, but 37% on the year from three-point range, but finally able to get to the offensive glass and use their athletic ability to get a stick back.
Stolen away. Here come the running Hornets, or at least one of them. And now pulling it back out is Neal. Three-pointer, no good. Tipped back, but no basket. And they say that Brown pushed off.
Good work inside by Brown. Does get caught with the whistle, but Mike Helfer's got to like what he's seen from Brown the last 2 trips down, trying to get to the offensive glass and make something happen for the Hornets. Here's a look. Just a little shove in the back. And here comes the full court pressure.
You feel right now Southern Poly a little bit frustrated. This is a team that averages 88 points a game, and here we are almost halfway through the first half. They only have a dozen.
Well, the thing about this tournament is when you have teams from different parts of the country, as Pierce can't finish the playoff, neither team has really probably scouted the other one. There haven't been a whole lot of common opponents. It's almost word-of-mouth type scouting. You never quite know what you're going to get, and even though Southern Poly comes in here as the 10 seed, Westmont looks every bit as good in the early going.
They certainly do. Antonio Graham with a strong move.
Nice play inside by Graham. He's a horse for Southern Poly. It's 6'6" and the wide body in a tournament where you're not going to see a whole lot of powerful guys down on the block. He's a guy you would think that needs to get involved in this basketball game. He's a senior, and there have not been many touches down low so far for Southern Poly. They've got to get a low post game established, and maybe Graham can get that done for them.
Graham, not a good free throw shooter, only 54% on the year. Well, that one looked pure. So here come the running Hornets, make a little bit of a run at Westmont, and they're back within 3. And going back to the bench is Antonio Graham after his strong move inside.
Clark returning day for Westmont after a 2-3 minute rest. So both Clark and Pierce, the 1-2 punch back in for the Westmont Warriors.
That's when they built their lead, when those two guys were in there. That's Pierce with the ball. Gives it up to Phillips, the point guard. Now working in the low block, Clark. That one partially blocked. Shot clock is down to 7. And now a whistle and a foul. That foul is called on Colbin of Southern Poly.
It's a tough matchup inside for Southern Poly on Chris Clark. Right now it's DeJuan Jackson at 6'4" on Clark, who checks in at 6'6". He's trying to go to work down there. Now they'll make a switch and get 6'7" Quentin Wilson on it.
Poked away. Clark, still plenty of time to shoot it, so Westmont will pull their offense back out and set the play.
It's almost like Clark and Pierce just take turns posting up inside, the other guys on the perimeter.
Losing the handle on it. Let's see who this one's going to go to. They say it went off of Southern Poly, so Westmont will keep it, but only 3 seconds on the shot clock.
Dave, you sense here that Southern Poly has picked up their defensive intensity in the half court. The last couple of trips down have not been as easy for Westmont.
Again, they catch Southern Poly napping a little bit on the inbounds play, and they draw the contact.
Always got to be aware of where the basketball is. And Duriel Pullman, number 30, here he is down here, just asleep at the wheel right there, and they throw it right over the top of his shoulder. And with 3 seconds on the shot clock, you got a chance to make something out of nothing here with a couple of foul shots.
You can see that play working maybe once in a game, but twice in 5 minutes?
That should not happen, especially on a veteran team that Southern Poly has.
Will Gully is at the line out of Mountain Home, Idaho. You can imagine the Westmont campus, beautiful, in the hills of Montecito and Santa Barbara.
Probably not too hard to recruit there, is it?
No, I wouldn't think so. A school that was founded in 1937, and right now it's Westmont with a 4-point lead. A whistle and a touch foul inside. That one called on Clark. First one on Clark, and certainly it goes without saying that the Warriors need Clark to stay in the game. He is their leading scorer. That was a good look inside from Krav, player out of Estonia. Guy couldn't finish.
Guy can step out and shoot the 3 at 6'10", so he's a guy who could potentially provide some matchup problems for Westmont.
Well, a timeout with 9:07 to go in the first half. We're coming back to the NAIA tournament at Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City in a moment. But the basket from the Warriors was a 3, and now Clark adds 2 more. Clark with 15 points. He hit the 3 while we were at break, and now a 2-pointer.
How many different ways can Chris Clark score in this first half? We've seen him post up. He stuck 3 threes and then scores in transition that last time. Graham seems to be the one guy, Ben, for the Running Hornets that's willing to take it inside. Yeah, he's been impressive here the last couple of minutes as Southern Poly tries to rally.
A wide open look for the Warriors, but Ortiz can't find the range. And again, that strong move inside for Graham. They don't seem like they can stop him right now.
Well, he's just a tough matchup with his strength inside. They want to double team him on the low block. Good catch.
Again, getting lost defensively, the Running Hornets, but Clark scores again already. 15 points for Clark.
Phillips doing a nice job in that backcourt, handling the full court pressure. That time with the 3-on-2 opportunity, Clark with a good catch and finish.
Now a tie-up.
Substitution for Hornets.
A good bounce pass there. Down low, Clark able to beat the defender to the basketball. Again, they break the full court pressure and have not looked to attack a whole bunch when that has happened, but when the opportunity presents itself, Clark is there to do the damage. What a half he is having.
A really good crowd here at Municipal for first-round games in the NAIA tournament. Good to have it back in Kansas City where it belongs.
You sense the excitement to have it back here in Kansas City. A long history with this tournament, and the crowd has turned out early here at Municipal Auditorium, enjoying some great action.
Westmont came in with a game plan. They're sticking to it, and so far it's been successful. Well, they really like to run Pierce off that high post.
Nice.
And good interior passing to Phillips.
I'll tell you what, with Clark and Pierce and Phillips, you got 3 guys who really have a knowledge for the game. Play so well together.
And a bad pass inside, easily picked off by the Warriors. Ortiz will bring it up. He'll go one-on-one. Dish it back out. 3-pointer off, no good from Beckler.
Here's a look back at that last hoop by Westmont as Pierce with a great backdoor feed and Phillips getting his first hoop of this first half. Coming right into your living room right here. Good footwork by Adrian Phillips, able to get to the hole.
Well, I love the pass from Pierce, though. Nice bounce pass from the high post. And the Warriors keeping the Running Hornets at arm's length so far. A wild shot taken, tipped up and not in. And it's Clark with the rebound.
Westmont really doing a nice job for the most part on the defensive glass.
And again, 2 of those threesome you talked about, they team up, Clark and Pierce, and right now they've got the Running Hornets number. Yeah, coming up, it's our matinee performance. Oklahoma Baptist, one of the top seeds in this tournament. They're ranked number 5 And they take on Lewis Clark State. Two teams, Ben, that really shoot the ball well.
Yeah, we expect a high-scoring game, maybe even in the 90s. Oklahoma the Baptist, a team with a long history in this program, taking on a Lewis Clark team out of Idaho. But Westmont, boy, very efficient in the half court here. Here's a nice spin move by Clark. It just feels like Clark and Pierce always know where one another are on the floor, and we've yet to see Southern Poly get help defense to a guy cutting to the basket. How many times have they got cuts like that for easy layups? Southern Poly's got to do a better job of helping off, maybe trying to draw some charges to take away those plays.
Well, right now Pierce getting a rest, and Clark out there all by his lonesome along with Phillips. I love the way Pierce, though, moved to the basket, and then Clark easily found him. A lot of times you see guys stand around, but as you mentioned, Ben, those guys really have a sense to know how to play this game.
Yeah, both juniors, Phillips as well as junior guys, have been playing together for a couple of years now.
Octavius Harris, who only scores 4 a game, comes off the bench to hit a 3.
Guy who's a good spot-up shooter, doesn't play a whole lot of minutes, but that's his job when he comes in, to provide some instant offense from long range, and Southern Poly desperately needing it right now.
Picked off. Krav, can he go the distance? Good give and go. What a block inside. The block came from Gerges, and it stuck to the basket.
Foul call on number 42, Jeff Gerges. That's his second personal.
Well, that's more the style that Southern Poly wants to play. You just don't expect the 6'10" Croft to be the guy out in the passing lane starting this fast break, but good work in transition, and Gerges with the block sticks it right in the crack, but got a piece of Croft.
So Krav at 78%. Guy went to Kent State and transferred over to Southern Poly. Junior out of Estonia. As we've seen so many European big men, they really like to play more on the perimeter than they do inside.
Yeah, with 29 threes on the year. And pretty swift in the open court there after picking up the steal. He's a transfer from Kent State.
So the running Hornets with a bit of a run, getting back within 4 after trailing by 9. Almost a 5-second call. And you can see Southern Poly, when Phillips gets his hands on the ball, they just pull back.
Yeah, because he's going to beat the first guy, and then you're going to have a 5-on-4 or a 4-on-3 type of advantage. They want to try and steal that initial inbounds pass. Almost got it done, but Billy Goley was able to hang on long enough to get it into Phillips.
Well, Phillips, one of the best free throw shooters around, will go to the line. 82%. It's junior out of Vista.
Adrian Phillips at the line for the Warriors, shooting 2.
I'll tell you this, Phillips, he'll sleep well tonight. He'll get his work in here today.
Got you, dog. You got it. Here we go, gentlemen. One. By yourself, TJ. By yourself.
So Phillips that time hits 1 of 2 from the line. 5-point Warrior lead. Good pass inside. No finish though. And it's tipped out of bounds, and it will go to the Warriors.
Well, Westmont with a little more size inside, and even though they do make a good pass down low, Southern Poly not able to finish the shot off as DeJuan Neal had that one contested. Neal is yet to get real involved in this game, the point guard. There's a nice steal from behind.
Sure was. Starting with good pressure. From the wing, no good. And over the back is Krav.
Well, neither team has shot it well from the perimeter, with the exception of Chris Clark for Westmont, who's knocked in 3 3-pointers. Well, here's what Southern Poly wants in the backcourt with this full court pressure. You're going to see number 20, DeJuan Neal, come from behind, and that's where they do their damage. And yet They get a wide open three and can't knock it in. That's how they score 89 points a game, but have just 26 here in the first half today.
Gully at the line. He will get the bonus.
Substitution for the Hornets, number 33, Antonio Graham, number 30.
Well, coming up, the Hy-Vee at the half, the report with Brad Porter. And I'll break down the brackets for you. Come up with some highlights from our two previous games, plus this one, and stats from the tournament. So Brad Porter taking notes, getting all set to go. Hy-Vee at the half. Shot goes down for Gully. So with 4:45 left to go first half, it's Westmont expanding their lead, 33-26.
Seems like they're playing their best basketball here at the end of the season. This is a team that got off to really a bad start for them. Started 2-5 and eventually finished the season at 20-9, but come in here looking pretty sharp this afternoon.
And a travel on the part of Graham, but again, it's Graham who seems to be doing the most damage inside. I'm surprised that he's sitting as much as he is.
Well, Westmont was able to get a double team on him that time to force the turnover. Here's a look. Good defense in there by Romberg, number 44, who's checked in here in the last minute.
He shuffled his feet, a little travel. And a timeout taken by the Warriors. So they want to talk things over with 4:14 to go. Their coach, Johnny Moore, in his 9th year guiding the Warriors. 14th year overall. Very good success rate at Westmont. 185 and 95. And in fact, Westmont has won 20 or more games for 5 straight years.
Yeah, he's got a nice program out there. We mentioned the Final Four trip down in Tulsa back in 1999. So it's a program with a lot of history, and he has certainly built on it. The brother-in-law is Steve Lavin, the head coach of the UCLA Bruins. In his 9th season, doing a nice job, and really has his team well prepared to play here today.
A small school, Westmont, only 1,200 enrolled there.
Little zone from Southern Poly now. 2-3. Clark out of the lineup right now for Westmont.
Phillips for 3. Well, it was right on target, just a little strong.
They've had some good looks in this first half, but nobody other than Clark has consistently been able to make an outside jump shot, or they would have a much bigger lead than 7 right now. Westmont has been man-to-man the entire way.
Neal throws up a wild one. So far, Southern Poly has hit just 1 3 in the game.
Came in shooting 37% from downtown.
Almost stolen away, but Neal got a hand in there, so it's a foul on DeJuan Neal.
Neal almost got the steal as Pierce just dribbled a little bit too much there. Kind of gotten away from what had been so successful for Westmont in the first 17 minutes of this ball game, but Neal bails him out with the foul.
In and out, no good. He will not get the bonus. And here come the running Hornets. Reached in, Phillips with a foul. So 2 on Phillips now, and again, the Warriors need Phillips in the game to handle that pressure from the running Hornets.
Yeah, we'll see what John Moore does here. 3:07 left to go in the first half. May just want to sit Phillips out and save him for the second half.
Krav can't find the range from close in. Boy, a lot of contact there, and the foul called. If at first you don't succeed, Ryan Romberg will go to the line.
Here's the pass by Pierce right on the target, and a tough catch for Romberg in traffic. They didn't have anywhere else to go but take it right to the hoop and able to draw a foul. Westmont has missed some foul shot opportunities here down the stretch of this first half.
Romberg, junior out of Yorba Linda, comes off the bench for the Warriors. A man who's hit 87% of his free throws.
Well, it looks that John Moore will leave Phillips in here with the 2 fouls the remainder of the first half, but he's got to be careful. Do not want to see him pick up 3 in the remaining minutes.
Charge? Yep. And that was a charge on the part of Jackson. Good defense, and again, fundamentally sound, the Warriors.
Yep, it was the man from the free throw line, Romberg, getting back in transition. Yeah, he was there. Nice defensive play by Ryan Romberg.
You know, the running Hornets have been the walking Hornets in this first half.
Yeah, Jackson's had trouble getting untracked. The leading scorer for Southern Poly. Almost a steal in the backcourt here.
Only a couple of steals in this first half for Southern Poly, and as we mentioned, they average over 12 a game.
Well, they're used to getting steals and converting off them with layups. Just a couple of steals. I think only one of those they converted into a layup at the other end. So give John Moore and Westmont a lot of credit. Pretty solid first half.
And again, going right down the paint is Mitch Pierce. So Pierce with 8 points in the first half. Whistle, and that foul is called on Gully.
Let's look at Mitch Pierce. Solid first half, complimenting Chris Clark in the half court, working without the basketball. Hey, nobody's going to guard me. I'm going to take it right to the hole. A missed defensive assignment there by Southern Poly. And time after time, Westmont has been able to get layups out of the half court.
And they're doing it by running Pierce to that high post. Either he passes or drives like you just saw.
Yeah, when you got a skilled guy like that, a big guy who can not only post up, but then he can step out on the perimeter. He can shoot it from 15 to 18 feet, but he can also put it on the floor. We've seen him make a couple of nice passes. That time they just don't guard him, and he blows it right down the lane for a layup.
Timeout? Yep, timeout called by the Warriors. So Pierce was down on the mat, and now they're going to call a 30-second timeout.
Well, the quick hands of Southern Poly trying to knock loose the ball, but an alert play by the veteran Mitch Pierce.
Man, we've talked about it with Phillips really handling the bulk of the pressure of the press, but it also really helps to have a big man that can handle the ball.
Yeah, they've got a couple of them. Not only Pierce, but Clark a little bit is also strong with the basketball. And, you know, those three are surrounded by guys who are solid players as well. So Westmont looks really impressive here in this first half, building up a 9-point lead and are really controlled from the very beginning. Turnovers have not been much of a problem, and even when they do get the ball knocked loose, as they did just there, Pierce alert enough to dive on the floor and get a timeout to save the possession.
Well, for Southern Poly, their head coach is Mike Helfer, his 5th year guiding the running Hornets. You see his overall record. In fact, all 5 years as a head coach have been spent at Southern Poly. And they play in that Georgia, Alabama, Carolina conference.
That's a great conference in a league that's sent several quality teams to this tournament in Kansas City this year. They finished one game behind Faulkner, who's the 6th seed in this tournament. We'll see them a little bit later.
Pierce takes it strong to the hole, but that shot comes up short, and Pierce comes up lame. Phillips with a steal, but he threw it right to Krov. Three-point attempt, no good. What else is new for Southern Poly? But good rebounding inside, and Brown with the 2.
Well, we'll have to see what the injury is here to Pierce. Looks like he's moving a little bit better now. May have just tweaked an ankle. Looks like his left ankle is already heavily taped, but not his right ankle, and looks to be shaking it off here in the final minutes.
Sometimes it's the best way to stay in there and run it off.
Yeah, he may not want to go to the locker at halftime. Southern Poly trying this zone once again. They've been beaten pretty good in the man defense. Get a steal here.
They sure do. So good steal, good hands by Coleman. And as we near the 1 minute mark of this first half, Southern Poly trying to make a little run.
A couple buckets here, and they got to feel pretty good. As they've been outplayed in this first half, that foul looks like it's on Clark.
That's his second. So 2 on Clark and 2 on Phillips. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, it's the Hy-Vee at the half with Brad Porter. We'll break down the bracket for you here in the first round of the NAIA tournament. Game highlights from the first couple of games and stats, of course, from the games we have seen so far.
Think about Southern Poly, even though they've been outplayed in this first half. It's a veteran team, a team that's not going to go away. They came to this tournament with high expectations and reached the Sweet 16 each of the last 2 years. And even though they've been down by as many as 9, they continue to battle here and have closed within 6 and can feel pretty good about themselves. They get a couple more buckets here to close out this first half.
You really get the sense that it's Mike Helfer who's going to have to make the most adjustments at halftime.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen him go zone. We'll see how long he stays with that because his man defense has not been very effective, and his bread and butter, this full court pressure, has not been much of a problem until now.
From the wing, a three-pointer, no good. The rebound taken away by Phillips. Now Phillips will wait for the rest of his team and slow the ball down again.
Well, he's got to get his hands on the ball in that backcourt. Southern Poly able to poke one away, and they had some opportunities to convert off the full court pressure, but nobody's been able to step up and knock in a three-point shot.
Shot clock is down to 5. Phillips puts up a 3. That won't go. The rebound comes right back out to Pierce.
And maybe an ill-advised shot there by Pierce as he now realizes he could have held it for one.
Three-pointer's good. What a shot by Coleman. For a team that hadn't hit the 3, they hit a big one near the buzzer, and Southern Poly closes with a run to get within 2. They trailed by 11 once upon a time, but the running Hornets right back in it. 37-35 at the half. And coming up, the Hy-Vee at the half report.
Lunchtime at the NAIA Buffalo Funds 2002 Men's Basketball Championship. Our third game today. The Westmont Warriors leading Southern Polytechnic, the Runnin' Hornets, by a score of 37-35. And a very interesting first half today. A very fun first half. Westmont was able to build an 11-point lead at one time in the first half before Southern Polytechnic got on a run. Let's take a look at the Hy-Vee first half highlights. First of all, the hot hand for Westmont. Chris Clark banging away from outside, working the screen up top to perfection. Here's the kick out again from down low as Clark able to nail from long range. But watch Southern Polytechnic. Antonio Graham scored 4 straight points at one point, including the inside and the and one to help close the gap. Mitch Pierce of Westmont also hot, getting 8 points in the first half, but a 9-0 run to close out the first half, including this three-pointer by Daryl Graham. And Westmont leading by just 2 points. We'll take a timeout and come back with the second half.
Welcome back to downtown Kansas City Municipal Auditorium. We're at halftime of the first round action in the NAIA Division I tournament here in KC. And right now it's Westmont leading Southern Poly 37-35 at halftime. With Ben Boyle, I'm Dave Armstrong. And Ben, Southern Poly has to feel fortunate to be within 2 right now.
They really got outplayed in that first half, down by as many as 11, but they make a late run there, and even though they didn't play well, didn't execute at either end of the floor, they're able to finish with the flurry and within striking distance. Remember, this is a veteran team that came here thinking they can make a long run in the tournament. We'll see what happens here in the second 20.
Lunchtime with the NAIA in the first half stats brought to you by Hy-Vee.
Well, here's a look at the numbers, and Westmont behind 6 of 8 shooting by Chris Clark, shoots 54%. Beyond Clark, neither team able to hit much from downtown, going 3 of 10 from three-point range. Turnovers, not much of a problem for either team in that first half.
So we'll see who gets hot from the perimeter. Might be the team that wins this ball game.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Neither team was able to hit wide open shots in that first half.
And that basket would have counted, and the foul is on Clark. So an early development here in the game because Clark has just picked up his third.
Well, that's key. They go right at Chris Clark as he comes over with some help defense. Maybe an ill-advised play by Clark trying to step in and draw the charge. And we'll see what John Moore does here if he sits down his leading scorer here for a few minutes. I think Southern Poly's got to get something established down in the low post. They did not have good shot selection for the most part in that first half. Antonio Graham came in, gave him a lift down there in the low block, and Brown able to get to the offensive glass a few times. So I think a good decision early on here to pound it inside.
2 guys. Let's go, guys.
So the foul on Clark, his third, and one of the things Phillips picked up too in the first half, easier though for a point guard to stay out of foul trouble than it is for an interior guy.
Yeah, exactly. And you saw that John Moore did not elect to take Phillips out. He picked up that second foul with about 3.5 minutes left. And he should be safe, I would think. But Clark, the concern right now, picking up his third early on.
And for the moment, Clark is staying in this ball game. The free throws, good for Brown. And we've got a tie ball game. The pressure a little bit more active here in the second half for the running Hornets. Well, again, they don't cut Pierce off from the basket.
It's almost like if they don't get the steal in the backcourt, they relax for a minute. And Pierce just took it all the way in. Nobody ever cut him off.
And again, going inside is Graham. He has a nice soft touch in there.
He's been getting a lot more touches inside here. Here's Phillips, the guy you want with his hands on the ball, able to break the pressure in the backcourt.
Now from the wing, that one's good. Tillery hits the three.
I think you made a great point, Dave. Whichever team can start knocking in some of those open jump shots is going to win this basketball game.
Did you see the way Clark had to back off there? And Jackson makes him pay.
Jackson, the leading scorer on this team, went just 2 of 7 in that first half, so he's got to get involved.
Clark backing in, throws up a prayer, and it goes.
A nice step through. 7 of 9 now. Shooting the basketball is Chris Clark. That time double teamed up high, but somehow able to get it to go.
And a three-pointer. Maybe they're both going to heat up in the second half. Jackson hits the three.
Just a 30% three-point shooter, but a rhythm player, able to get his rhythm with that bucket the last time down, now stepping out and knocking in the three.
Whistle and a foul. That one called on Neal.
Foul call on number 21, Neal. That's his third person.
So Neal picks up his third. That'll wipe the smile off his face.
Number 42, TJ Watson. Number 54, Clayton Crowd.
Well, he's got to be careful now because he's the guy who really sets up that full court pressure. He's the guy with the active hands. And Neal with about 60 steals on the season, so he's got to be careful in the backcourt.
There's a sense of urgency on the part of Clark to score and do as much damage as he can. A little surprised that Southern Poly doesn't maybe try to take a charge when he comes in.
Yeah, may have forced that one there. Clark with the left hand. Really the first time we've seen him out of control in this ball game.
Brown hits a running jumper. Yeah, sometimes scorers, when they have 3 fouls, man, they get a sense of urgency like, okay, I've got to hurry up and score because it won't be any moment the coach is going to sit me on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. Let's look back at this play by the big fella out of Estonia. Showing a little quickness there, hitting the floater in the lane, and guess what? Southern Poly has come from 11 back to lead this game by 2.
Clark again feeling the double team. Westmont moves it around the perimeter. Now they'll pull it back out. Good defense by the running Hornets. But now they fall asleep. Phillips misses the running jumper, and a fresh 35 to on the shot clock. Phillips again. Whistle and a foul, or is it a timeout? It's a timeout taken by the Warriors. You get the sense that John Moore knew his team was a little bit disjointed here in the second half. He wants to talk things over.
Yeah, he wants to get them settled down. In the first 15 minutes of this game, they were so patient, so methodical on the offensive end of the floor, but now he sees them getting sped up a little bit, and the tempo starting to get in favor of Southern Poly. Let's see what's going on here in this offensive set. Phillips out of control there, not sure where he wanted to go with the basketball. Fortunately for Westmont, they're able to save the possession. But he wants to talk things over here, get them settled down. They were doing things so well in the first 15 minutes of this ball game, and since then, some missed layups and some turnover problems, and Southern Poly's taking the lead.
So Southern Poly, their pressure starting to come to fruition here in the second half, and it's Southern Poly with the 2-point lead.
But Phillips is the guy who's got to get them settled down here. Southern Poly in a zone this time, out of the timeout.
The zone has been effective for them. Poked away. Westmont gets it back, but only 5 to shoot it now. 2 to shoot it, and they get a wide open 3 that goes for Phillips.
That's a killer for Southern Poly, because it looked like they were going to get a steal a couple of different times on that possession, and Phillips beats the buzzer.
And again, did you see Clark inside? He just walked away, didn't even want any part of the contact as the running Hornets run the lane.
Phillips, not a guy who looks to shoot the basketball much, but he'll pick his spots, and had to pick it right here with the shot clock about to expire. Gets an open look at a 3. Down at the other end, you saw Clark just let his man go right to the glass, and sometimes when guys have 3 fouls early on in the second half, they almost become a liability at the defensive end of the floor because they're so reluctant to step in and do anything and pick up that 4th foul.
Knocked out of bounds. It goes off of Clark. And actually touched last by Southern Poly, so it'll stay with Westmont. And now I think Coach John Moore noticing the same thing we have, his reluctance to be there defensively. And so Clark will go to the bench at the 16:03 mark.
Come on.
A lot of contact, count the basket, and the foul.
Well, it happened again to Southern Poly. Falling asleep on the inbounds play, able to get it into Pierce, and an opportunity here for a 3-point play. That's a 3rd time now on an inbounds play underneath. Look at the man right here.
Same play.
Yep. Cannot afford to give that up and then give Pierce some credit to take the bump and able to knock in the shot.
They're catching the running Hornet defender, not even looking at the inbound passer, not even watching the ball at all. They caught him 3 times on the same play.
I think they've scored on every one of them.
What's that saying? Fool me once, shame on you.
What happens when it happens 3 times?
It's real bad.
Some big minutes here for Pierce out of Westmont, Phillips. Those 2 guys that got to step up with Clark on the bench with those 3 fouls. And a zone here, looks like from Westmont.
An effective one until now. Good interior passing, and Wilson scores the basket, and he'll go to the line.
Well, some pretty good patience there from Southern Poly. As we see the ball at the top, nice pass down, a good catch and finish by Wilson off of the bench. And these 2 teams trading punches right now.
I think he got the pass through because he looked off to Krov first, and then Wilson was wide open on the other side. So the running Hornets back on top by 2. A whistle and a foul, calling it closer here in the second half.
Pierce again in the open floor after breaking the press. Nobody shutting off his dribble penetration, so he's going to attack, and we'll be back at the foul line.
Knock out.
Right now, I'm sure running through John Moore's head, the coach of the Warriors, is when do I put Clark back in? And when he does put him in, he's going to tell Clark, look, you've got to be aggressive on both ends of the floor.
Yep. He may sit, I would guess, at least till the 12-minute mark.
Wow. Just the tallest guy out there, and he reached up and grabbed it.
Well, they got out-rebounded in the first half, and Southern Poly, a team that came in with the rebound margin of +10, starting to get the work done on the glass.
It will stay with Westmont.
So here's Krav, averaging almost 6 rebounds a game. At 6'10", plays even bigger than that with those long arms, able to just pick that one off the top of the head of one of the Westmont players.
So 5 minutes gone here in the second half. Southern Poly, who trailed by 11 once upon a time, now leading by 2.
Little weave here, trying to get some dribble penetration.
Left wide open from the wing is Gully. He's hit 40% of his threes this year. That was too wide open as far as Southern Poly is concerned. Now a wild shot taken to the other end by Coleman.
See if that three gives them the momentum back a little bit here. Bad shot put up by Pierce that time.
Basket count, no. The foul came on the floor.
Well, we saw Billy Golick knock in a wide open three here. He's a co-captain on this team, and with the other co-captain, Clark, on the bench with the 3 fouls, he steps up and gives Westmont back the lead.
I was really surprised they gave him that much room, a guy who's hit 40% of his threes this year.
Been a lot of open looks from downtown throughout this game, but neither team has been real effective at taking advantage of that.
Crowd throws up a wild one.
Westmont trying to steal as many minutes as they can right here with Chris Clark on that bench with the 3 fouls.
Well, you could see it from the time they crossed the timeline. Krav, he was lost. He had no idea who he was guarding, who he was supposed to guard. He started on Phillips and then just lost his man.
Well, we saw some of those defensive breakdowns in the first half that allowed Westmont to build that 11-point lead. Can't afford those when you're in a tight game trying to play your way into the Sweet 16.
And that's a charge. A charge on the part of Reuben Bush.
Well, let's see if we can find Krav. There he is, 54 in your screen, and he'll just get lost on this entire play. Trying to find Gerges. There he is. And he just scored on you.
With good recognition on the part of Westmont and by Gerges and by Phillips. They lost Krav somewhere on the defensive end. Now here comes Phillips pushing the action. No charge called at that end, even though Southern Poly wanted one.
Hey, that was a good no call. Phillips tried to do what he could to avoid the defender and dumped it down low to Gerges with back-to-back buckets here for Westmont.
Oh, good block.
Well, it was blocked away, but right to Southern Poly, and Watson scores again. And right now, Westmont is beating the running Hornets down the floor. Gerges again.
No problems in the backcourt with that full court pressure. And 3 straight times they get Gerges loose for layups.
Timeout for Southern Poly. So some work to do, even though the Westmont Warriors back in command once again.
Juwan Jackson from Juwan.
Jackson scored for the Running Hornets while we were gone. So it's the Warriors with the ball. Gerges with a rebound, blocked once, and the second one will go.
How about Gerges with 4 buckets here in the last 2 minutes, and Westmont now starting to build on this lead.
Gerges up to 10 points for the game. Long three, way short by Jackson. You can sense him getting a little bit frustrated. Jackson, who averages 14 a game.
Yeah, the momentum has definitely swung back into Westmont's favor, and they're doing it with Clark, their best player on the bench right now.
And again, driving it in, Pierce, and they're able to break the pressure of the Running Hornets.
Yeah, let's look at how they're breaking down this full court pressure. We talked early on that this guy right here, Phillips, with the ball in his hands would be the key to this basketball game. Can he handle the pressure in the backcourt? He delivers a layup there for Gerges, and then here he is again once he gets... Well, actually, that was Gerges scoring that time, but Phillips and his teammates in the backcourt were able to handle the pressure to get 2 easy baskets for Westmont and able to give them back the lead.
So now Pierce goes to the line. Pierce with 18 points in this game. His free throws, a guy who shoots 67% on the year, his free throws have been perfect. Under 12 to go. Southern Poly finds themselves in the hole again, trailing now by a half dozen. And a good look, good penetration inside by Coleman.
Coleman, the guy, hit the big 3 at the first half buzzer. Nice little dribble drive and kiss off the glass.
Boy, all these minutes, as you mentioned, with Clark on their bench, now the 3 fouls don't look nearly as ominous. Whistle and a foul, and guess who's going to the line again? Pierce.
Boy, he just draws contact. And look at the pass from Phillips, the point guard, from 25 feet away. Backdoor, bounce pass. Pierce not able to finish off the first shot, but stays with it. And back at the foul line where he's made a living in this second half. And Clark set to return here with 11:15 left to go.
Well, you can sense the 3 juniors, Pierce, Clark, and Phillips, really like playing with one another.
And many people thinking, well, Westmont may be a year away from making another run at the Final Four, but they're saying, hey, we got a shot this year as well. And they've played well here, but trying to hold off the 10th seed, Southern Poly.
That second free throw, no good at all. And now it's 64-59 in favor of Westmont. A wild pass thrown by Southern Poly, and checking back in for the Warriors, Chris Clark. Missed the last 5 minutes, 3 fouls, picked up his 3rd early here in the second half, and going to the bench will be Mitch Pierce. We welcome you to Kansas City and to Municipal Auditorium in downtown KC. This is first round action, the men's NAIA Division I tournament. Westmont, who has the lead, they weren't favored in this game. And they're in white, and it's Southern Poly in their green uniforms. With Ben Boyle, I'm Dave Armstrong. And good first round action earlier today. We watched Olivet Nazarene win over Edward Waters in an upset there. Waters, the 13th seed in the tournament. And even earlier today, the first game of the tournament, Martin Methodist advanced past Spring Hill. Another mild upset. So far we're seeing the lower seeds advance.
I think you can kind of throw out the seeds when you get to the NAIA tournament. As we talked earlier, these teams really don't see each other in the regular season, don't know a whole lot about each other, and you just come in here and try and play your best basketball. And Westmont, for the most part, has outplayed the higher seed Southern Poly in this game.
I think what we have seen so far, Ben, is the teams that are most fundamentally sound are the ones that are advancing.
Yeah, I think so. Teams who can shoot it, handle the basketball, play good help defense. That seems to have been the theme here, and I think if Westmont hangs on and wins this, they'll look back at the little 5-minute stretch where Clark went out of the ball game with the 3 fouls. They were behind at that point, so with their best player on their bench, they're able to reestablish the lead and the momentum. Now he returns with a 5-point lead. Westmont switching defenses in the second half. We've seen zone and a man this time down.
Jackson lucky to get through all that traffic, and now a hold on the part of Westmont. Let's check out those shooting percentages. Very good for Westmont in the first half, even better in the second. And Southern Poly shooting 60%, just trying to keep pace.
Both teams missed some open looks in that first half, but now starting to knock in some jump shots, and both teams getting the ball to the basket in this second half. That's why those numbers are both up above 60%.
Boy, a good drive by Neal, but he can't finish. Saved, but out of bounds. Jackson had his foot on the line as he went flying for that ball.
Been stuck on 64 at 59. Good hustle by both teams, and Jackson just did step on the line. Nice job of officiating right there by this crew.
Boy, and again, Krob gets lost defensively.
Well, he looks like he's lost a little bit in this full court pressure. And Clark beat him that time. Clark and Pierce doing the damage.
Clark with 19, Pierce with 18. Jackson, first points for Southern Poly in a while. Ortiz breaks the press. Try for a jam, but a foul by Neal will send Gully to the line.
It's almost like if they don't steal the initial inbounds pass, it's advantage Westmont. They make one pass to get out of the double team, and then it's a 3-on-2 break the other way. Good, strong take by Billy Gully.
You get the sense that, well, here Mike Helfer, his team, that press not being effective, and you get the sense that John Moore and the Warriors almost welcome the press.
I think so, because they've got the guys who can handle it. At the same time, if you're Helfer, how do you go away from the press? It's been your bread and butter all season long. It's won you 27 games and gotten you, 360 steals throughout the year. That's how they've killed teams this year, but not quite as effective against this well-coached team out of the Golden State Athletic Conference.
Gully hits both free throws, and Westmont leading it by 7. 9 minutes to go. Nice drive to the hoop by Bush.
Got the floor spread that time, and Bush with the quick feet. Phillips getting a break here for Westmont. As Done will handle the point guard duty.
Tripping foul on the part of Gully. And pressure work that time for the running Hornets. Cogville got tripped up.
Let's get a look at this dribble drive by Reuben Bush. Nice crossover to blow right by Billy Gully to help defense getting there too late. And goes right over the top of Mitch Pierce.
Nice soft touch again from Antonio Graham. Now the running Hornets back within 3 again.
Nice pass.
Nice block. It'll still belong to Westmont.
All game long, Pierce has been coming into this backcourt to help out with the pressure. Great cross-court pass, but look at the elevation by DeJuan Jackson to throw that one back in reverse on Chris Clark. And Phillips will return to the lineup here, so just got a 1.5-minute break for him, and he'll probably go the rest of the way.
That went out of bounds off of Westmont. It went off Chris Clark, and it will belong to the Running Hornets. So all of a sudden, this pressure starting to mount on Westmont.
Well, Southern Poly, I think Mike Helfer will tell you they have not played their best game here today, and yet you look up the scoreboard and they're still within 3 points, and this is a team that can just explode on you. They can go out and get 10, 15 points in about a 2-minute stretch. But they got to take better shots than that one if they're going to do that.
Dewan Jackson just threw up a quick three and a guarded three.
Foul on number 22, Matt Cogbill. That's his second personal, team 9.
And the foul was called on Cogbill. 9th team foul on Southern Poly. So Westmont's going to be shooting some free throws. And it's a 1-and-1 for Clark. Cogbill has 2 fouls now. Can't get the bonus. And the rebound taken by the Running Hornets. So an opportunity for the Warriors to expand their lead. Here comes Phillips. And Pierce says, let's pull it back out again. First time in a long time that Phillips, Pierce, and Clark have been in the same game at the same time.
Yeah, we'll see if they can build on this 3-point lead with those guys into the lineup here, and Clark with just 3 fouls now.
Clark, a 3-pointer. He really has found the range from out there. That's his 4th 3 of the game.
They looked for him. Able to step away from the low block and spot up for an open 3. Big shot right there by Clark to give him a 6-point lead. Nice cross-court pass. Plenty of time to spot up, and Clark has been money from there all game long.
Well, Clark, 22 points in this game. Pierce has added 20. Quite a 1-2 punch.
Southern Poly needs a good look here. Last 2 trips down, they have 4 shots.
And that time a better look. Jackson working off the pick.
Backcourt pressure again. No problem for Westmont. Pierce so good at coming into the backcourt and helping out from his forward spot. Almost giving them 3 guards out there to handle the pressure.
Ben, I don't have the stats in front of us, but I'm guessing that only maybe a half dozen, maybe 10 points for the Running Hornets today off that backcourt pressure.
Yeah, if even that. And that's the key to their game. You would expect that throughout this season they're getting 20-plus a game, points off turnovers, but not today. And yet they're within 4.
Long 3. No good. A rebound and a good one by Graham. And a good play inside by Dewan Jackson. And here come the Running Hornets again. Boy, they do want to get that ball down the court in a hurry. The foul on Jackson will send Phillips to the line.
That's the 10th team foul, so Westmont will be in the double bonus the rest of the way.
That's his 4th personal.
The Warriors,
Team 10.
68% from the line as a team for John Moore. His team 13-12 in the NAIA tournament. A couple of years ago, they lost to Oklahoma City in the first round.
Thought it might be a bit of a rebuilding year. They lost 3 starters off of last year's team, including a player, Corey Blick, who hit almost 300 career threes. But after a slow start, 2-5, give John Moore some credit for getting this team back to the NAIA tournament and trying to knock off the number 10 seed here in round 1.
Winner of this game will take on either Mountain State or Wayland Baptist. 3-point ball game. Just under 5.5 to go. Krav for three. That was halfway down and came back out. Krav, a good three-point shooter, 50% on the year. And he has hit 29 out of 59.
And look at the little guy. Phillips go get the defensive rebound, and now a timeout taken by John Moore.
So Moore takes the timeout. He has just one timeout remaining now. But he wants to talk over strategy over the last 5 minutes of the ball game. And over in the Mike Helfer huddle, Southern Poly frustrated all day. They haven't played their best game today, and yet they are within three, certainly within striking range.
Oh, no question about it. Southern Poly, we saw them down 11. Let's listen in here and see if we can hear John Moore addressing his team.
Joe, you're here. If you don't get that, we're passing it into Joe. Joe's going to get a layup, 3 points.
If we don't get that, Mitch, you're replacing me. And you're clearing out. I'm swinging up here. Let's come up.
And his point guard, Phillips, adding some information.
Okay, guys, defensively, continue to get stops.
It's an interesting exchange, isn't it? We've got Adrian Phillips, a veteran point guard, and John Moore guiding that last huddle. Don't forget, between games, Brad Porter getting ready in the studio with the high V between the game report. And Brad will be around at halftime as well. Clark, who had to sit much of this half in foul trouble, leading the way for the Warriors with 22 points. They go back door, and a good play by Pierce.
Nice call from the huddle that time by John Moore, spreading the floor, and Phillips right on the money to Pierce, who beats his man back door. Great call by John Moore, great execution by those two juniors.
Well, he and Krav went tumbling to the court. No foul called on either player.
That's a good use of a timeout. Your team's up by 3, a key moment in the game. Let's get a timeout, and with the set play, go get a bucket and a 5-point lead. That's just a great job by John Moore.
So here's Southern Poly shooting 60% in the second half, and yet trailing by 5. And a whistle and a foul on Phillips. He's picked up his third. Excuse me, his fourth personal on Phillips. So 4 on Phillips. Clark, his foul trouble is no longer a real concern. He still has 3.
Well, if you're Southern Poly, you got to go right at Phillips now. If you can get him out of the game here with 3-4 minutes left to go, it changes the whole complexion. Takes out your best ball handler, and your team leader out there.
Neal rattles one home, 65% on the year for DeJuan Neal, a senior out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, another suburb of Atlanta. They went to Old Dominion first. Good rebound inside. Who got that? That was Watson, T.J. Watson. So the Running Hornets within a bucket.
Switch to a zone here by Southern Poly, trying to take away some of those backdoor cuts.
Three-pointer, no good. Good rebound inside by Pierce. Ortiz back to Pierce, blocked away by Watson. Jackson coming on the fly. And coming back defensively to make a nice play is Ortiz.
Good transition, able to get back as we start with the block down here on Pierce. Just swatted away by T.J. Watson, and that starts a break. Good hustle, though, by Ortiz to save an easy layup at the other end.
Five-second call against the Running Hornets.
Wow, how big is that? Looks like they're going to get a layup on the break. And that defensive play by Ortiz is even bigger now. Could have been a tie game. Instead, Westmont still up by a deuce.
Nearing the 4-minute mark.
Might want to bring Clark out top here. He's had the hot hand from 3-point range. against this zone.
Clark put it on the ground, and boy, as soon as he put it on that floor, they were attacking him. Three-pointer for the lead, no good. Oh, nice reversal by Ruben Bush.
Has he made a couple nice plays in this second half? Just explodes on the baseline, and the hang time, able to get the hoop and the hack, and a chance for Southern Poly to take the lead.
Pierce whistled for the foul, his second. Free throws no good, so we're tied. Tied at 74 with 3:20 to go.
Southern Poly going to set up in this zone defense once again.
I think their zone has been the most effective defense they've played today.
Yep, I think so. I think you got to bring Clark maybe up high and try and spot him up for a three.
Gully goes around a fallen Hornet for three. Those are tough to hit. When you have to change your shot and back up again, that's a tough shot to hit. But a fresh 35 on the shot clock.
Westmont back on their heels a little bit here. A little bit unsure of how to attack this zone.
Shot clock is under 10. It's at 8. They whip it around to Phillips for three. What a big shot.
Great pass. It looked like Clark was going to have to force something up. He's double teamed on the baseline and just knows where Phillips is at. And Phillips doesn't take many shots, but steps up and hits a big one. Let's look at it here. See if we can see the shot clock in this shot. There it is at 6 as he makes the pass, and Phillips wide open. Great cross-court pass, what you need against the zone.
That's twice now that Phillips has hit a three-point shot. The other time with 1 on the shot clock, this time with 4.
Yeah, how big are those? The point guard, the guy who defends and distributes, coming up with 2 huge three-point shots in this second half, and give Clark some credit for finding him open.
So a big 3 by Adrian Phillips. Phillips now with 10 points. They're applauding in that Westmont huddle. Now this is a lunch game here, the NAIA tournament. Coming up next, a little matinee for you. It's Oklahoma Baptist and Lewis Clark State. That's coming up next. 2 teams that each shoot better than 50% from the field as a team.
And Oklahoma Baptist featuring the leading scorer in the NAIA, averaging better than 25 points a game. So there should be a lot of fireworks in that second game coming up right after theirs. Actually, our second game, 4th game of the day.
That's right. The 4th of 8 today, 8 more tomorrow, 8 more on Friday. 31 games in total for the champion is crowned.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Coming up next Tuesday night. Is that a charge? Oh, it is. And a big call against Southern Poly. DeJuan Neal with the charge.
I think it was number 12, Billy Goley. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, I think he got there in time. Maybe a little bit of flop at the end, but a big call right there with under 2 minutes left to go. So Westmont, it's a big 3 from Phillips and a defensive stop. And remember, Southern Poly, this roster loaded with seniors. And Neal is fouled out. They're playing for their careers right here in the final 2 minutes.
And now you expect Westmont, a well-schooled, well-coached team, to try to eat as much clock as they can. Or get a nice interior pass. There they are again, the tandem of Phillips and Pierce.
High screen and roll as Southern Poly went back to the man and they got burned. Great execution.
A wild 3 from the corner is no good for Cogbill. So here we are nearing the 1 minute mark. And perhaps the 3rd upset in as many games. Mild upsets indeed, but upsets nonetheless. whistle and a reach-in foul on Bush. Now for Southern Poly today, it was an uphill climb all afternoon. They had a 2-point lead. That's been their biggest lead. And for Westmont, they've led by as many as 11 in this game. Right now, the lead at 5, and Phillips with a chance to expand it. If he can hit them both, it's now a 3-possession game. There's one. This next one will be big.
For a brief moment there at the beginning of the second half, Southern Poly got the momentum and they got the lead, and Clark had the 3 fouls. But Westmont and John Moore able to right the ship. And once they got the lead back, Dave, about the 11-12 minute mark, they never relinquished it. Southern Poly was able to get it tied, but then Phillips, this guy right here, stepped up and hit a big 3.
Ben, you really got the sense that Southern Poly, and the ball saved by Westmont, Southern Poly never really took advantage of the fact that Chris Clark had to go to the sidelines for about 5 minutes with 3 fouls.
Yeah, I think that may have been the key stretch. Southern Poly actually had the lead, and Clark has to sit down for about 5 minutes, but that's when Mitch Pierce stepped up. Another great player for Westmont, and he just kind of took over during that stretch, got the lead back for Westmont, and then once Clark returned, they have maintained the lead.
That's a good shot, Joe.
Ortiz trying to slam the door shut on the running Hornets. 1:01 to go.
So Ortiz gives Westmont a 7-point lead. They led by as many as 11 in that first half. And a situation here where Southern Poly needs to look for a 3-point shot inside a minute.
Well, a bad mistake there by the Warriors. A foul to stop the clock. Daryl Coleman at the line. And right now, Mike Helfer trying to put his quickest team on the court. Trying to cause a steal. Missing the front end of the 1-and-1 though, Coleman. And they reach in and foul Phillips. So right now it looks like if John Moore's team can hit free throws, they are going to move on to round 2.
I think the whole key to this game was whether Westmont could handle the full court pressure of Southern Poly. We've talked about it throughout the entire game, and that got established in the first 5 minutes. That Phillips right here and his teammates were going to be able to handle that pressure, and it wasn't going to be a layup drill for Southern Poly getting steals and the layups like they've done all season long. That got established, and Westmont has just held them at arm's length throughout.
They sure did. Adrian Phillips, been a key player today, handling the pressure, hitting some big shots for the Warriors. And those 2 free throws pretty much put it out of reach. Krav from the wing. That'll go. A 3-pointer. And a timeout taken by the running Hornets. They're not going to go down without a fight, but only 45 seconds, a little less than 45 to go. And Phillips, a part of the play of the game, brought to you by KC Bobcat. One tough animal.
There's Phillips on the bench. It was tied at 74 all, and he knocked in this big 3-point shot as Clark got double teamed on the baseline. 6 seconds on the shot clock as he whips it across to Phillips. The guy doesn't look to score much, but knocks in a big 3, his second 3-pointer of the second half. And that gave Westmont back the lead, and right now they lead it by 6.
Well, you look at that trio of players for the Warriors. Phillips, the point guard. Mitch Pierce, the man handling the high post. And then Chris Clark, who could do damage both inside and out. That trio was just too much for the running Hornets here today.
Well, a trio like that will take you a long way once you get into tournament play. And Westmont, at 20-9, did not come into this tournament seated very high, but I think they've opened some eyes this afternoon. And I think they'll be a handful for the rest of the way if they can hold on here for the final few seconds against Southern Poly.
Phillips hoping to get his hands on the ball. One of the best free throw shooters for the Warriors. Phillips has got it. They try to trap him, no foul call. Then they try to foul Gully, nothing called. And this is fine as far as the Warriors are concerned. Just let that clock roll. Now reach-in foul called against Bush, and Phillips will go back to the line. That took 10 seconds.
That's his third personal.
Southern Poly really needed a turnover right there, but did you see how hard Phillips worked to get open, to get the basketball in his hands?
And John Moore smiling for the first time today. He knows his team now is going to move on into the next round. So a good win for John Moore and his Warriors. Able to handle the pressure, hit some big shots coming down the stretch. And Adrian Phillips, even though it was Clark and Pierce who scored more, Phillips would be the MVP of this team today.
Done a little bit of everything. Handled the pressure, distributed the ball, and hit a couple of big three-pointers. And Clark and Pierce, more often than not, the beneficiary of his good passes.
They cover up Krov, the best three-point shooter. And now a reach-in foul. And a chance for Ben Adelman to go to the line. You think, Adelman, that name sounds familiar. Well, it should. His uncle Rick, head coach of the Sacramento Kings.
He's a junior out of Oceanside, California. Kings have been pretty good this year. I'm sure Ben's been to a few of the games as well. Chance to get in the scoring column here.
The Kings having a very, very good year. It's going to be a dogfight in the West with Dallas and the Lakers and Sacramento.
Keep going.
Yeah, no kidding. That's an offensive foul called on Coleman.
Well, what a disappointment for Southern Poly. They've been to the Sweet 16 each of the last 2 years. Came here with a veteran team and going to get knocked off in the first round.
Stepping on the sideline is Gully. It won't matter. 13.4 to go. Mike Helfer's team fighting to the end, but even he knows at this point we have too great a distance to cover. Gully's got the rebound. Phillips can just pull it back out if he chooses. Well, Phillips with 2 more. So the Westmont Warriors move on to round 2 today as John Moore's team beating Mike Helfer's team. And another seed is knocked off. The 3rd seed in as many games to go. Westmont, the winner here today, 88-77. Now coming up next, we've got a good matchup between 2 very good shooting teams, Oklahoma Baptist and Lewis Clark State. Till then, for Ben Boyle, Dave Armstrong saying so long. Don't forget, it's the tournament report between games, brought to you by Hy-Vee. We'll have that for you in just a moment.